Hey, welcome back everyone. So in today's video, I'm just going to draw a little bit of perspective, and just so you know, this isn't an accurate perspective. I just drew a couple lines. I mapped out center to them a little bit and then divided those up. So it's kind of like I'm thinking of the vanishing point all the way to the left off the page, but I'm just mimicking it. And then as far as the angles, you can see I'm using that Weems and Plath ruler that allows me to space out pretty quickly and or space my lines out. I don't want to space out, but yeah. So I lay in the grid like that, and then I just start drawing in some screens and some tech lines. So this is the type of style that I go for. Well, for one, in my Blackstone comic, but anything when I'm trying to draw something that's more modern or futuristic or an alien ship or you name it. This is the way that I generally think about it, and so I figured I would share this, and you guys can tell me if you find these types of videos helpful, if you want to see different ones, and if you got any questions, make sure to comment below. But really all I'm doing here is basic shapes, right? Starts with a big rectangle, works into some smaller rectangles and smaller squares. You can incorporate triangles, angles of any sort, really. I probably even should have introduced some circles in here, so you don't want everything to be too awfully angular. It's kind of gets almost distracting, and I think this one kind of did. But you know, the main thing I want to show you is that it's really primitive shapes built up upon and overlapping and highs and lows. So for instance, I think that the screens themselves would be pretty boring if I didn't add like little pieces off to the side. That's just something I like to do. Obviously, styles will vary greatly into what you want to see and do in your own style, but to me, that's one of the things I try to do. You see, even on the screen on the top right, I start to get a little too messy with it, trying to overlap those, and I go back and simplify it a little more. But to me, that just adds more of a sense of scale and volume, or not volume, but I guess volume too, but a sense of scale. So just like if you add a small silhouette of a person to a massive scene, you don't really know it's massive until you add that little person, right? So scale is generally introduced by smaller details. So to me, I just try to practice cutting into these shapes and incorporating smaller details, even though they're really a bunch of basic shapes, you know, and that's what I want to get through to this video, so that you realize, like, anybody can do this stuff and anybody can really draw. You just basically have to break it down in a way where the shapes work. Now, some people are better at orchestrating the shapes and seeing things more vividly, I imagine. I know I struggled even with something like this, but I was still able to get it done. And for me, if I'm not seeing it real well, I'll just go back and I'll sketch with like no grid lines, no nothing, just freehand. I'll just scribble a bunch of different ideas, really letting any idea of it being clean and precise go out the window, so that I can hurry up and put a bunch of ideas on the page and figure out what I'm doing wrong or why I'm not really liking it. So even by the end of this one, the bottom left is like a little control panel. I really don't like the way I finished it, but I went ahead and, you know, I'm sharing it today anyways. But I just want to let you know that they're not all wins. You know, it's not like you figure it all out and everything's great in your mind. There's some things you're like, I wish I would have did that, but I like this, so I'm going to roll with it. But again, it's all basic primitive shapes. And you know, there's tons of great source material out there if you're trying to get better at this type of stuff. One book that I've been referencing a lot lately, and I want to share more out of it as far as what I learned, but it's Scott Robertson's book on how to draw environments, and I'll link it in the description box below. Simply amazing book and great perspective techniques. And so now I'm working on that little control panel I was talking about. And in hindsight, I don't think I would have put all those little textures. I was trying to convey like the sliders and details on top of the area versus drawing a bunch of little keys like a keyboard. But I do think that once it's inked and colored, it would actually look a lot better anyways. But the thing that's detracting me away from wanting to see that there now is that I've kind of put detail everywhere. And they say that if you don't give the viewer's eye an area to rest, it becomes exhausting to look at the image. So you got to be careful of that. Now, as far as the swirling marks that I put in the actual screens, I do like that because even though it's a bit of a cheat or repetitive effect, it's a little bit more organic, and I think that softens up, you know, the overly angular nature of this particular type of drawing. So I do like doing that. But At any rate, that's today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I'd love to know what you think as well as what you'd like to see in the future. As always, keep drawing, keep having fun, and bye for now.